Welcome to the Peak Performance and Peak Satisfaction podcast with Master Executive Coach Sherry Gregoff. Sherry helps business people perform better, get rewarded handsomely, and actually enjoy their work. After having her own career turnaround, she now helps other high-powered business professionals experience the same. Join the movement to work differently.
Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. If you discover that your team members are bringing you into their daily work such that they are taking more from your capacity than they do to multiply it, it's time to delegate to empower them. Whether you have an amazing relationship with your team member or it's a strained one, there are specific actions you can take that will benefit both of you and the business. As a special bonus, access my script for having these conversations, leaving your team member engaged and more motivated to work independently. Before we jump in, I want to shout out one of my clients who had a win in this area. Here's the quote from her. "I love the way Sherry showed me how to empower my team member to work more independently because I want to be the manager who grows and develops her employees. I realized we were in a comfortable routine, but now I really need to take my capacity back." This client had a high performer with high potential with whom she had a great relationship. As she became more pressed for time, she realized they had gotten into a rut of working sessions where my client would help her team member as she created her work product. It was collaborative and pleasant, and the result was exceptional. But it came at a price, a drag on her time, and not enough room in her calendar to do the strategic work this leader wanted and needed to be doing. The question came, how do I introduce change without disenfranchising or discouraging my team member? She realized that keeping this habit going was actually not in service of her team member. By hand-holding her through her responsibilities, she was enabling the behavior and was robbing her of the opportunity to build these skills and work autonomously. The change she wanted to see in her team member didn't have to be delivery of bad news. Together, we constructed an approach and role-played the conversation such that the leader was excited to give the team member the feedback and the opportunity to step up. Stay tuned through the end of this episode to see how you can access the exact script that I offered up to this client. Similar victories are shared by all of my clients, and I have experienced it too in my own career turnaround. So let's hop to today's podcast content and get you on your way to experiencing this also. We have all been there. We have an employee who is taking more of our time and energy than is worth the impact they are having independently. Interestingly, this happens with employees that we love to partner with and see as high performers. And it also happens with employees that we would count as underperformers and as having talent issues. That simple fact is a hint to us of where the true problem lies. If this dynamic can happen with high performers and low performers, then the common variable is, you guessed it, us. This is good news because it truly is in our control to shift the entire situation and work differently. The first step is recognizing that you are too hands-on with a team member, whether it's constant slacks with the play-by-play of their day, or a call to talk quickly, and then you find you're on the line with them as they do their work step by step, or you find yourself giving dictation to them and they are typing your every word as you speak it, or any message they receive that strikes a chord is quickly forwarded your way to commiserate on it together, or you avoid giving them more tasks because it seems too challenging. These are all signs that you are too far into their workload. There is the other issue of a team member missing in action, suddenly on FTO, and lo and behold, all their responsibilities have become your own, with no handoff or background given. Here too, there is a delegation problem. They were mistaken in thinking that you were the right person to complete their responsibilities. So, we've spotted the unsatisfactory situation. Now, what do we do about it? Before we hop into taking action, let's do a quick mindset check. There may be some discomfort that comes up when we have team members who are awaiting instruction and expectations from us as their leader. First, we may be weary about giving others directions or making asks of them. I find that highly empathetic leaders are often worried that their team members are doing too much, are already stressed, already seem like they're bordering on burnout, so the prospect of having them take on more in any way seems impossible. What human would want to hurt another in that way? This, of course, is an oversimplification of the situation that our brain quickly offers up as a shortcut, quick interpretation. Another one is that we may think to show the team that we have solidarity, we have to get in the foxhole with them and do the same work alongside them. We don't want to displease them, so we figure we'll fill in for them or do the work together with them. And so begins the cycle of hand-holding and supplementing a team member's contributions by taking on their work from them. It starts with what sounds like valiant intentions. Another mindset we might have is that it would be easier or faster if we just do it ourselves. We reason, I could do it in less time than it would take to show them how, so I'll just take care of it. Again, this is another short-sighted, choosing the easier road now that will backfire in the near term. As managers, we are teaching a person how to fish, rather than just handing them the fish. This takes upfront investment, such as taking the time to teach them and setting a clear expectation for the resulting work product and how they do the work. That one-time investment will be worth the many times they do it independently without our help. This may sound obvious, but our brain, it takes shortcuts and skips right by this fact pattern. No judgment zone here, by the way. Just recognize if you're defaulting to, it's easier if I just take care of this myself. Third, our desire for perfection can keep us from handing a responsibility over. We may have our own ideas about what a high-quality way of doing it is, and we frankly just can't stomach settling for seeing it done subpar. So we hold it closely and do it just the way we see fit. We prioritize that perfection and the satisfaction of it being done to our standard as paramount. All right, we covered 3 perspectives that keep us hoarding responsibilities. It only feels right to counter with 3 ways that delegation is a better approach. It offers benefits to 3 stakeholder sets. First, let's start with you. Little old you who a minute ago was doing it yourself so that it would be done right, and doing it yourself because it seemed easier. You, my friend, are likely limiting your own success and career by clinging to these responsibilities that you have a team member on staff to do. Take a deep breath. This can be painful to hear, but I say it with great affection. If you've got career goals, if you have a shortage of time and an excess of stress, no time to do the things that will let you grow your career, you got it. These are all symptoms of failing to delegate effectively. So it may be uncomfortable initially. It may take some temporary loosening of standards. It may take some more upfront effort, but this is how you learn to grow team members. Set direction. Coach for better performance. This is how you get time back, more capacity, and leverage from your team. This is what enables you to spend your time on more strategic work rather than the business as usual. Get uncomfortable. It means you're on the right track. It's net less uncomfortable than staying in the hamster wheel of doing your job and your team members' jobs. I say this in all earnestness. It's why we hire and employ people, to use their talents, but it requires handing over the task and teaching them how to own it. Beyond the benefits to you, it benefits your team member. Let's talk through some scenarios. Let's say this team member is celebrated as a high performer, but you are their ghostwriter. Enter a reorg or a new role for your team member. Suddenly, they are promoted or working a job without your stealth extra help at every step. They may suddenly be unable to meet expectations on their own. Another manager might terminate them for not meeting expectations. They may be caught off guard completely because they had felt certain in their consistent outperformance and never quite realized how dependent they were on your input at every turn. They may be surprised and confused at this new feedback. Let's take the other scenario of an underperformer who you may feel frustrated with and disappointed in, so you avoid them. You wouldn't consider giving them more work because they are struggling with what they have, so the scope of role shrinks. They may have career goals like the rest of us, but haven't even been shown the full scope of expectation to be successful in their current role. They are doomed, in a way, from ever rising to the full breadth of the role because you have already sealed their fate by not communicating the constructive feedback and clear expectations for being successful. In both these scenarios, and everyone in between, we as people leaders have a duty to communicate clearly the expectations for the role and exactly what success looks like, and then to stick to our word rather than walking back expectations to keep the peace. Setting the rules and the objective of the game and keeping them consistent is the only way to have fair play. Changing the recipe for success as we go makes it a moving target. As managers, our primary purpose is to do everything we can to set up our people for success. Clear feedback of what's working well and what's not is how we do right by our people. Third, what's right for the business. You were hired to do a role. You are compensated and titled accordingly. If you are spending much of your time doing the work of other people at lower levels who were employed to do that work, there's a problem there. Your scope of role is not being done well. Your employees are being paid for work they are not doing. There is a gap of work not completed or a burden placed on your own manager to step in where you are not delivering yourself. This often well-intentioned helping out or micromanaging is actually a clear inefficiency. In business, these situations tend to be uncovered and sorted. Spot it yourself first. Our goal is to raise the bar on how we perform and how our team performs at all times. Otherwise, we are going backwards in terms of having more people than we need and real gaps in work getting done effectively. Every business is a people business, and if we aren't getting the work done effectively between our people, the business will suffer. So now we know the benefits to us, our team members, and our business. We're sold on the idea of delegating more, but how do we do this? Purely for the fact that this can feel uncomfortable, we can have a mental block in how to approach this in a constructive way. To get the wheels turning, let me give you some ideas. Let's pick off some common scenarios, how we might be tempted to react, and how we can choose to respond instead. Every one of these are grounded in real-life examples from my clients and my own personal experience. Let's go. Number 1, you have a team member whose preferred working method is to call you to talk it through. If an ask is made or a task is sent their way, they want to talk about it, talk it out, talk through approach, hear your tips and hints, get a steer from you, seeking more direction, and even better, stay on the phone while they do said task. You may be tempted to comply because, hey, you're the manager, right? You have a responsibility to help guide your people. Maybe you like feeling needed. You like feeling smart when giving them all the answers. Or maybe you cringe when the phone rings and it's this employee, or when you get the non-descriptive Slack, "Got a minute?" when you know they are really asking for 60 on whatever task they have picked up to work on at that moment. It interrupts the work you were trying to get done yourself in this moment. Here is how you can choose to respond instead. Let's see how far you can take this on your own. Then I'll be happy to chime in with feedback. I'm counting on you to spot the patterns where I do chime in so that next time you can take it all the way there by yourself. It's important to both of us that you are learning and growing, and this is the perfect opportunity for you to practice getting things over the finish line. Number 2, your team member picks up an ask and fires off a quick response, copying you in to fill in any gaps. It may be tempting to play ball and add on what your team member missed, replying all and playing cleanup crew, following your team member's expectation. You may tell yourself, this is efficient after all. It's collaboration with everyone chiming in. But really what you're doing is reaffirming your team member to send off half-baked work and delegate the remainder to you. Instead, you can choose to respond to the team member alone to ask what might have been overlooked. You can ask questions and, if need be, point out what was overlooked. Ask them to sharpen their pencil and send a follow-up note to the group. This is showing them how to produce a complete work product themselves rather than doing it for them. This is how they learn by doing. Number 3, a team member has expressed their stress and overwhelm, which has you on your back foot in giving them more responsibility. When you take a closer look, they themselves are not fully utilizing their own team. While they are busy in tasks they haven't delegated to their team members, they are counting on you to do their work in turn. Instead, you can choose to break the cycle and re-underwrite their scope of role and that of their employees. You hold firm on the asks of them and show them how they, in turn, must do the same. This is how the organization can function again. It takes delegation and empowerment, and you can lead by example to set a template for them. Clear and firm expectations, teaching, and a shift of ownership. Number 4, you've got a right-hand team member who is shaping up to be your successor, but the thought of making that formal or clear to your own manager is feeling like it will put you at risk. You'd like to move on when you're good and ready, and not be pushed out before you decide. It's tempting to hold tightly to the reins and keep your successor at bay, to keep that job security. Another perspective is that your role is more at risk if you aren't growing into a bigger scope and more strategic work. Your successor may be looking for a stretch to grow themselves, and maybe that's a cue for you to seek the same. Instead of clinging to the scope you know, celebrate being able to lean on your team to take on higher level, new work and even enjoy more work-life balance. Number 5, you do a post-mortem on a key client meeting with your team member and later recap that meeting with clear next steps assigned for them. It's tempting to give direction and spoon-feed instruction at every turn so there is no confusion. Instead, you can turn over ownership to them and note that they will be recapping next steps on your discussions from here. You'd like to hear it in their words and have the chance to chime in with any clarifications. In this way, they can own and actively manage their next steps, pushing updates to you instead of you pulling them. Number 6, your team members want more frequent and longer one-on-ones, more accessibility to you by phone and chat, and more timely feedback on their work. Maybe an office hours each week where you are available to the team, team outings for social connection, and a team meeting where you keep them informed on what's happening at the top of the firm. Okay, maybe they don't explicitly ask for all of this at once, but the asks can add up to this. Again, we can be tempted to comply as we want to support them. Instead, we can show them how having the space to problem solve on their own, answer their own questions, research on their own, come up with their own original thought without us over their shoulders is all part of the process. If we were to do it all side by side, all day after all, you wouldn't have time for any other work, and that would beg the question of why both of you are needed to do a single job. This may sound silly, but you can find light ways to point out that aiming to be more self-sufficient will help them grow their capability. Number 7, your team member brings problems to you, one after one. Problem identified as step 1, dropping it on your doorstep as step 2. It can be tempting to be the hero, the savior, to pull that problem off their hands and hand back the solution on a silver platter. I call this help desk managing. Got a problem? I'll solve it. It can feel good in the moment, actually, productive. Instead, train the team member how to come up with solutions and always raise a problem together with the potential solutions and a clear recommendation on the way forward. Bringing a problem with no further thought isn't helpful, actually. What you need from them is taking it that next step. When meeting with them, don't just offer up answer after answer. Respond with a question to get them thinking of an answer themselves. Powerful questions can help them build this skill and not take that opportunity away from them by quickly dishing out an answer from you. Number 8, your team member chats you, complaining about their peer, even as their peer is presenting in front of a large group. It's clear they want you to handle the situation. It might be tempting to snap to attention, or worse, complain about that very same person to your team member, to be empathetic and relate. Instead, ask your team member how they might help that peer. Point out how mentorship and collaboration are part of the expectation for all team members. You will handle the role of manager, but your expectation for peers is that they support each other, offer ideas, be a sounding board, and share resources. This can help your team members shift from peanut gallery pointing out others' shortcomings to acting as an owner and trying to bring everyone along, no colleague left behind. There are endless examples, but I hope by now you see the patterns and commonalities. In every case, we are not reacting instinctually or by taking the path of least resistance to people please in the moment. Instead, we pause and choose to respond in that way that will most benefit that team member in the long run by helping them build new skills, grow their capability, and develop constructive habits that will serve them well, not only in your team, but in any future roles with any other managers. It's a selfless task, actually. It's continually having the courageous and often uncomfortable conversations that are in your team members' best interests, but also your best interests and that of the business. It's not always our gut reaction, but it can become more familiar as we practice. Everyone wants to feel more empowered, feel like they make a difference, grow their impact, feel capable and entrusted with a vote of confidence from their leader. Who are we to take that opportunity away from our people? Think of all the leaders who gave you a little rope, encouraged you, were confident in you, maybe before you even saw it in yourself. You likely remember because it mattered. It made a difference in your growth. Now you have the opportunity to pay it forward by doing the same with your people. I realize that sometimes finding the exact words, the approach, even envisioning the conversation, it can be a challenge. If we can't find the right words, we might postpone the conversation, postpone delegating, which impedes their personal growth and limits our own career growth. I don't want any of my listeners getting stuck, not knowing how to make this a reality, or fretting about the way to have the conversation. So as a special bonus to today's podcast episode, I'm offering a free script for how to delegate to empower. these exact statements can be tailored to language that is most natural for you. You can put in your own words. It will engender buy-in, convey your confidence, and leave your team member feeling encouraged, empowered, and motivated to step up their ownership. You will enter the conversation assured and clear, and can adapt this script to any of the scenarios we discussed today or that might come up in the future. You will delegate more responsibility so that they can work more independently with less hand-holding from you. With these talking points, you will never be at a loss on how to delegate more effectively. It can be both your starting point and the refrain you come back to as a checkpoint in whether the delegation is working well. In making any positive change, I find it's often on the other side of a courageous conversation. Once we address the mindsets holding us back, like we did in this episode, the three-way benefits on the other side of delegation available to the leader, the team member, and the business. With the list of real-life examples from today and how to shift your perspective on the situation to a more constructive way forward, and with the specific prompts for how to have the courageous conversation in my script that you can access right now at the first link in the show notes, you are set up to successfully delegate better than you ever have before. Advance your team and your development at the same time. Rest assured that you are growing them and their careers as a result. All it takes is repeating this process and having these courageous conversations. Well done on investing in your own ability to delegate. It's a skill you will use forevermore in the office and beyond. Empower that team and free yourself up for higher level work. Everyone will be happier for it, from your team member to your leader, you, and all those who count on you too. Until next time.
Looking for support in applying the principles and strategies in today's episode? Sherry coaches clients one-on-one as their trusted confidant and advisor, helping each client create the work and life they had only dreamed of. To schedule your complimentary career strategy session, go to sherrygregoff.com/apply to book time with her today. It's one simple step that can change everything.